You know, Pokemon is still a huge, huge franchise. You know, you had games, you had the anime.
Worship spent our life savings without getting permission from me!
Oh, I'm sorry, Jessie. I just wanted you to be proud of me. I'll never spend our money like that again.
Yeah, because we'll never have any money again.
Super Team Rocket blasts off at the speed of light.
Surrender now or prepare for a magical fight!
You could have been toast.
Well, what do you care for? I thought you were going to become top coordinator, girlfriend. I'm fine on my own, if you please.
You know you're happy to see me, so just admit it.
Oh, Jessie!
You even had the cards. And you also have, like, you know, a ton, I was gonna say, you know what I was about to say. A ton of films.
When did you learn how to be a Pokemon trainer? And secondly, get me the hell out of here! Begin! Look out! Whoa, whoa, whoa!
And there's also, like, besides, like, you know, the main RPG games, like, you know, you'd have other games.
Beedrill, Porygon, Monkey, Mario Dinosaur, Poop, Abomination.
The series. But why don't we look back to where it all started when it came to Pokemon games? By looking back at Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow. So, before like we get into like say topics of like say hey, like how these three games were different, because here's the way, like say Pokemon in Red and Blue version, while they had similarities, and they were also the first stars of the entire franchise. They first came out in 1996. So in the Pokemon Red and Blue, the player controls the protagonist from an overhead perspective and navigates the fictional world of Kanto in a quiet quest to master Pokemon battling.
Hey, little buddy, want a ride?
Pikachu!
Yeah, whatever.
I'll be right back!
Where can you catch all 150 Pokemon? On your Game Boy, that's where. Pokemon for Game Boy is here. With both packs, you can catch them all. Games and systems sold separately.
The goal is to become the champion of the Indigo League by defeating the 8 gym leaders and the top Pokemon trainers in land, the Elite Four. You know, you have other objectives to complete, like, say, you have your Pokedex, like, where you can, like, say, hey, catch as many Pokemon as you want. You can obtain, like, 151, especially back at the time. Apparently, even Red and Blue, you could use the Game Link cable, which connects the Game Boy systems and allows Pokemon to be traded or battle between games. And both versions feature the same plot, and while both games can be, like say, hey, you can play them in your own time frame, players must trade between both games to obtain all the original 151 Pokemon. So, I guess that's one reason, like, say, hey, buddy, you get Pokemon Red, I'll get Pokemon Blue, so next time we hang out, we can, okay, you give me this Pokemon, and I'll give you that Pokemon. And then, suddenly, friendships can be ruined. Because, you know that's how it was back growing up, suddenly you say, but you were able to get this Pokemon, and I wasn't? What's up with that? You're, looking for, say, hey, a lot of the Pokemon games, they take, take inspiration from real-world locations. Pokemon Red and Blue take place in the region of Kanto, which is based on the real-life Kanto region in Japan.
The region mixes the modern hustle and bustle of big cities with the traditional tranquility of rural life. Visitors can enjoy the fast-paced and technologically advanced urban areas of Tokyo and Yokohama and easily get away to nearby hot spring resorts, untouched mountain gorges, beaches, and other UNESCO World Heritage Sites just a short train ride away.
And yeah, say, a lot of the Pokemon games are based, say, on specific locations. And, say, you'd have, hey, this location's based on that, blah, 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 blah. About development. So, game developer Satoshi Segura pitched the concept of Pokemon to Nintendo staff back in 1990. And at first it was like, say, huh, are we sure about this? And at first they probably say, this seems too big for us. However, out from the, with the shadows, out from the, just in general, wherever he was in that moment, Shigeru Miyamoto saw great. He just saw, like, say, huh, this is gonna be big. This is gonna be big. And thought, go full steam ahead. That is, go full steam ahead. An original concept for Pokemon stemmed from the hobby of insect collecting, which the original with Satoshi Tajiro was a big fan of. And apparently, the concept of trading Pokemon, apparently, the game developer, he had been had inspired by his time playing Dragon Quest II, Lumineers of the Legendary Line, and yeah, growing up, I don't think I ever had the opportunity because, like, when I was growing up, I had the chance to get a Game Boy Color. I didn't, have just a Game Boy. And one thing that the original, boxes, Pokemon Red version and Red Blue version, you had Charmander, Charizard, and then you had Blastoise on the cover. So those were awesome, say visuals, especially at the time. It's say. That's awesome. Because you see, say, those are all the Pokemon I know about. And eventually, we would, later end up getting a new another game, in this case, Pokemon Yellow version. And this one is a bit different when it comes to the other two games.
Look who's back. And this time, the two of you are partners in the latest installment of the Pokemon saga. It's Pokemon Yellow, the special Pikachu edition for Game Boy Color, where it's you and Pikachu catching as many as you can together. Look for the Pokemon Yellow Bundle Pack. It includes a limited edition Pokemon Game Boy and Yellow Game Pack.
While the same location, the story takes place in the same location of the Kanto region. In this time, our character gets a Pikachu from Professor Oak that follows them and acts like the anime. Say, hey, with Ash, he ends up getting Pikachu. Well, in this one, you embark on a quest to become the Pokemon Master by defeating the 8 gym leaders, challenging the Elite Four, and stopping the villainous Team Rocket. It would almost mirror Ash's story, and you'd even have encounter characters like Jesse, James, and Meowth. You'd even get the opportunity, to catch all 3 original starter Pokemon in the game, like Bulbasaur, Charmander, and Squirtle. And honestly, that's pretty cool. And I think I had Pokemon Silver. I think that was the first Pokemon game. Or maybe it was, no, I think I had Pokemon Gold. I think that was the first Pokemon game I had gotten. Yeah, I think that was the first one I ever got. I think I had Pokemon Gold, then I had Pokemon Silver, and that, eventually would lead into the Game Boy Advance era. And, say, hey, the thing about, say, the differences, in, yes, in Yellow, you have a Pikachu that follows around. That doesn't really happen in Red and Blue. And you could all, say, previously, you could catch Bulbasaur, Charmander, and Squirtle, in yellow. Which you couldn't, but you can do that in red and blue. Like you can only like say you can only get like that one, that one. There's like say no, getting of all three. And, like here's also a thing that it was very rather distinct to these games. Like, cause you'd have exclusive Pokemon in the rivers red and blue. You had Growlithe in red and Vulpix in blue. And like this would also like require like say, hey, let's like trade Pokemon to like say, hey, complete our Pokedex. And I'm gonna be honest and say I bet this would caused a lot of folks like say, hey, like because I remember when I was in college, like say a lot of people like they lost their minds when it came to the shiny Pokemon, and I remember my friend Ashley, she was like saying, "It's a shiny" and all that, and I was just like saying, at that point, like say yes, like Pokemon was on 3DS. I didn't really have the opportunity to get a 3DS, so unfortunately, I didn't get to get play those games as that era. And but here's the thing that makes them all like in similar to each other. So yes, they all have this thing like say, hey, you're going up against the Elite Four, you're catching Pokemon in a wide variety of environments, and like catching different ones at once. And like say this will be like a especially back growing up in the 90s, this will be the game that you would like say, hey, this is the starter game for like if you're gonna get a Nintendo handheld. This was it. This was really the game system, the three games, um, that would like say, hey, this would keep the kid quiet. I know what you're probably thinking, like say, wait, what? Because, um, like say back then, like say this was like say Game Boy and a Game Boy Color. It was a system like say that would keep you very much, um, like like say busy, whether it was like a long train trip or something else, or like say, hey, a car trip to Disney or something like that. So yeah, like the original Pokemon and Yo games, Pokemon Red and Blue. So Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow, these were all big. These were all relatively big that would end up help push the envelope when it comes to the whole Pokemon series in a way. Games I mean. So did you? So which of these games did you have the chance? Did you have both red and blue, or did you mostly have, or did you just have red, or just have blue, or did you have yellow? Here's also another specific question: did you have the yellow Game Boy color? I wish I had. I think I had. I think I had a clear one, or maybe it was a green one. I think I had a green Game Boy color. But if there's an, I have not really been keeping up, but I bet if there's a new Pokemon game, let's get back out there and go, and because we all gotta catch them all. Pokemon. I was originally gonna wear my like say a my Pikachu onesie, but I found like say no, don't do that. Don't like save that for the Pokemon film reviews. Just do it for that. I'll see you next time.